Hello guys, and welcome to another video here on the the Century games here on Under the Wire. Basically, Under the Wire is some PowerShell war games that would help you improve on using PowerShell and so on. So clicking on the war games, we're going to be working on Century, which is basically a 15 level game, so to say. Alright, without further ado, let's just get started. The Century 0, which is the first level here. The goal of this level is to log into the game. Do the following in order to achieve this goal. 1. Obtain the initial credentials via the Start Here channel on the Slack link. If you open up this link, you get into just put in your email here, get an invite, and you'll be able to log in straight to the Slack channel. After that, once you're in the channel, scroll on to the top to see the credentials. So we're needing the credential to log into the first level. Now, after obtaining the credentials, connect to the server via SSH. You will need an SSH client such as Putty. In this case, I'm using my terminal here on Kali. You can use Putty if you don't have it. The host that you would be connecting to is the UnderTheWire.tech on port 22. And then the third step would be, when prompted, use the credentials for the applicable game found in the Start Here Slack channel, which we're going to check here right now. So this is the Start Here. When you log in, you might be on channel, general, or random, so you click on Start Here, and alright, here we go. So basically, if you scroll to the top, you're going to get the informations. Here we have the username, we have the password. The username is Century1 and the password is Century1. The rest are the credentials for the other games that you will find here on at the Under the Wire. So this is what we need: Century1 as the username and Century1 as the password. So without further ado, let's get started. So we're going to use SSH, and we're going to use basically Century1 at this is the host that we need to connect to. So we're just going to copy that, and we're going to paste that, Ctrl+V, and then we're going to be connecting this to a port. The port is 22. Hit enter, and it's going to prompt us to enter the password, which is Century1. Hit enter, and voila, it says you have successfully connected to the game server when your path changes to PSC Century desktop and so on. So right here is the level 0 completed. So we'll click on Century1 in order to get into Century2. Now here in Century1, the password for Century2 is the build version of the instance of PowerShell installed on this system. Now usually, to check for the build version of the PowerShell, we use a command where you put a $sign PS and then version, PS version table, I think. Hit enter, and it's going to give you some of the informations about the PS version. Alright, kindly note that if there's a particular question that you do not understand or you don't know, you can just always copy the question and use ChatGPT to actually cross-check and confirm that particular question. Alright, in this case, you can just copy the build version of the instance for PowerShell installed on my system. You type it on ChatGPT, and it's going to just give you exactly what you need. So in this case right now, what the question asks for is the build version. And if you look here, we have the build version here. Another way is to just copy this, and then the command we typed in previously was psversion.table. You can hit the period sign or dot, and then just put the build version, and it's going to give us exactly what we need, alright, in this display. So now note the format is as displayed as follows, which is basically what we had here. Okay, be sure includes all period. Be sure to look for the build version and not the PowerShell version. Okay, we do have a PowerShell version where you put PS version. This is basically the PS version. It's different from this one. Now, important, once you feel you have the completed Century1 challenge, start a new connection to, that's basically what we're going to do. So the password is the build version. We're going to copy that, and then we're going to exit. Hit enter, clear that, and we're going to enter into Century2 with the password we just copied. So hit enter, and Ctrl+V, paste the password we copied, and there we go. Who am I? Basically Century2 is just written over there, basically Century2. Okay, so let's go into Century2, going into Century3. The password for Century3 is the name of the built-in CMDLet or the CMDLet that performs the wget wget like function when PowerShell within PowerShell plus the name of the file on the desktop. Now basically what we need to know is wget is something we use to access. Maybe if you use wget command on the Linux, you're going to be using it to access or easily access file on the internet. So the similar function here on PowerShell is what we call the invoke dash web request. There's something funny I did. If you type wget and hit enter, it's going to give you an error, but it's going to say cmd invoke web request. So basically this is what we're looking for. So I'm going to just exit here, just Ctrl C, basically, yeah, clear that. Clear that by CLS, and basically we've got what we need. What we need is basically the invoke dash web request. This is what is similar to, that's what is similar to the wget. So the next thing is we are going to add that to the name of the file on the desktop. There are so many ways to view the file on the desktop. So we're currently on the desktop, pwd, we are in the desktop. If you type dir, it will view the files on the desktop, and the name here is 443. Another way to do that is to use the get child item, and it's going to list that as well. So the password is going to be, if the name of the cmdlet is get web, in our case it's the invoke dash web request, and the file on the desktop is 1234, the password will be get dash web 1234. So basically our password will be, also note it's always going to be in lowercase. So in this case it's going to be, our password will be invoke dash web request and 443. So basically this is our password. I'm going to copy that, and then we're going to exit. I'm going to clear this, and I'm going to go into Century 3, and I'm going to paste the password and hit enter, and there we go, Century 3. Now let's go to the Century 3, going into Century 4. The password for Century 4 is the number of files on the desktop. Now if you type the get child item, if you're typing and you hit tab, it's going to be able to give you the exact command. So you hit enter, you can see we have a lot of files here, so I'm going to clear this, and the question is, what is the number of files on the desktop? Now you can search how to get this on the internet or ChatGPT, and basically what we're using is what we call the measure object. In this case we're just going to get child item. I'm going to hit tab, and in this case we're getting for only files. Okay, we're using the operator files, and in this case we're now going to pipe that to what we call the measure object, measure dash object, to measure the object. Now the measure object is basically calculating the number of properties of objects and characteristics like word. You can also check for property length, minimum, maximum, and so on and so forth. So in this case we're going to check for measure object. All right, and I'm going to hit enter. As you can see, it has get child item dash file measure object. We can see the count here is 123. Remember, the password is the number of files on the desktop, so the count is 123. If for instance if we just want to get only the count, all we're going to do is to put this in parentheses. All right, if you put this in parentheses, or say parentheses in bracket, and then just hit dot count, and it's going to give us the number 123, which we already have here. So our password is 123. We're going to copy that and going to exit, clear, and then we're going to get into Century 4. Hit enter, and just paste the password or just type it out, 123, hit enter, and we're basically in at Century 4. Now we're going to Century 4 to 5, and the password for Century 5 is the name of the file within a directory on the desktop that has spaces in it. Alright, in order to do this, we're just going to type in the get child item. Okay, and we're going to run the recurse, so it's going to go through all the folders for us. So recurse, and then we basically want to go through all the files. and there we go. So you see the this is the folder, can you open me, and the name of the file within that directory is 15768. okay, 15768. So that's the password. We'll copy that and then we're going to exit. All right, so we're clear, and then we're going to Century 5 right here. You hit enter. Okay, and then we'll paste that password or type in the password, whichever way, and voila, we're in Century 5. So let's head on to Century 5 to 6. 5 to 6. The password for Century 6 is the short name of the domain in which the system resides in, plus the name of the file on the desktop. Usually you can just copy what is the short name of the domain in which it resides. Just type that out on you can type that on ChatGPT and it's going to give you the answer. And basically we're going to use what we call the get add domain. So get dash ad domain. All right, we're looking at the current, which means basically what we at, and that's local computer, our current local computer. Type that in, hit enter. Okay, now we've got a lot of files, we've got a lot of results basically. So but what we're looking at for is the name. Okay, so the name of the domain here is let me see, we can just let me see here, you can filter this by just typing the name. So let me see. Okay, I'm gonna put all this in brackets to make it easy. Cover this as well. Sorry, no. Put this in brackets, and then we're gonna filter it by the name. Hit enter, and there we go. Under the wire. If you can actually scroll up here, we're going to be able to see the name. Yeah, basically here you can see the name. So if you just filter it directly, it will just give you what we need. So this is the name of the domain, and we also need the name of the file on the desktop. We can just use dir or get child. Just use get child item. Okay, and hit enter. Okay, we have 3347. So the password is, I'm going to paste this here, and 3347. Okay, the password is the combination of the name of the domain and the name of the file on the desktop. So we'll copy this, and then we're going to exit. We exit, and we're basically going into Century 6. I might end this video here, and we're going to continue Century 6 in another video. So I don't want to make the video too long, but I'm just going to paste it, and we're going to start from there in the second video. So Ctrl+Shift+V, hit enter. And there we go, we're in Century 6. I'm gonna see you guys in the next video, part 2. Ciao.